Hello folks, welcome to part 2 of my playthrough of Harper's Quest 2, which is a solo RPG from Joy Peddler Games. If you haven't seen the first part of this playthrough, I'll pop a link up in the corner of the screen right about now and down in the description below. I'm the Lone Adventurer. Thank you very much for stumbling your way upon my channel. Now in the first video we did all of the setup stuff. We established what our quest was going to be. We did our character creation. We did our enemy creation, so we know what the potential enemies are that we might face, along with the final boss, which is a Cyclops hag. We did not roll up any stats for the Cyclops hag, but that is not an issue because before we get to the caves where she lives, we need to first get through the forest. We're doing all of this in order to save our father, who is a woodcutter by trade and was taken whilst doing his woodcutting work in the woods, taken by the zombie hag, turned into some kind of zombified creature, and we hope to be able to save him. So with all that said, we need to just get on with it, I think. So there's going to be 7 areas that we need to work our way through in the forest before we find the entrance to the caves. So I guess the entrance to the caves will be the final area that we find. And so we just need to crack on really and get out into the forest. Our hero is called Ferrick. And so Ferrick is, I guess, as ready as he will ever be to take on Harper's quest. So I'm going to draw a little map and annotate it as we go. And I suppose each area I want to know the number of paths that lead on to potential subsequent areas. So I guess I'm going to do a sort of a roll and establish if there are 1, 2 or 3 exits. I suppose it might be that we get to somewhere where we cannot continue for one reason or another. We might have to double back and go in a different direction. And also I think there needs to be a chance that there is a dead end, but we might not do this on this first clearing that we come across, that Ferrick comes across. So I'm going to roll a 1d6, a 1 or a 2, there'll be 1 exit. 3 or a 4, there'll be 2 exits. 5 or a 6, there'll be 3 exits. Okay, so we've got 3 exits from this first clearing that we enter. Alright, so we've got our entrance into the forest that we've come through, and then we've got 3 possible exits here. So first thing we need to do is roll a d6. I guess we're rolling for room contents. Okay. So 4 gives us an NPC. Okay, so we've come across an NPC in our first area here. So when you meet an NPC, roll on the NPC table to establish their trait, role and items. So you interact with an NPC for a single purpose. So I might be able to convince them to join the party, which might be a good idea if they seem like an alright guy. Or maybe they're able to offer a clue or trade or divulge a shortcut. Alright, so let's see who our NPC is. We've got some tables at the back, I think, for NPC generation. And these are D66 tables. So let's roll for a trait. 24. Fragile. Well, maybe they're not going to be that useful. So a fragile. 51. Herald. A fragile herald. So what is a herald? Someone who sort of announces stuff, right? I can't really imagine why a herald would be skulking around in the woods. But nonetheless, they've got 12 AC, 12 attack ceiling, 13 HP, and rolls at d6. So assuming I'm not going to come across many NPCs, maybe I should try and convince this fragile herald to help me out in my quest. So I think in order to do that, I'll need to roll wisdom to try and convince this herald to come with me. So I think that means I roll 3d6, and if I roll less than 13, it's a success. And then if you roll exactly at, maybe that's like a super success. I think I remember reading that somewhere. That might just be in fights. But shall we say that's the case, because I can't quite see anything about that. So if I roll 13, if I roll less than 13, I succeed in convincing this person to join my party. If I roll 13 exactly, super success. Over 13, fail. Wow. There you go. I do roll high sometimes, just not when it helps. Okay, so I speak to this herald. Ferrick speaks to the herald, who I guess is in the forest, looking for some peace and quiet in between his heralding duties. This herald is a little fragile, so I tell him what my quest is. He does not look comfortable with the whole thing. It's pretty safe this far out of the forest, and I'm not going to convince him to be able to come in further with me and take on a terrifying ogre hag. He's not down with that, so I guess he leaves. Since we're so close to the entrance of the forest, he up and leaves. So that's the first room, encounter done. And then I can search for clues and exploration. I'm not really sure how clues will help you. Maybe if I find a clue, it will give me an advantage against in fights. So I think the other thing I can do is work out a feature for the room. Now that I've had a chat with this herald and he's gone, I'm going to have a look around and see what there is in this area. Now we've got a D66 feature table. However, the feature table, whilst it is like sometimes sufficiently vague, it often more lends itself to interior spaces. For example, a blistering hot hallway. Well, I suppose you could sort of adapt that to be outdoors. Dog kennel. So not necessarily for a foresty area. So I think I will use that table for some of the areas, and sometimes I'm going to be using this, which is a forest and woodlands dressing table. And this is from the this book here is the GM's Miscellany Dungeon Dressing from Raging Swan Press. This is not from there. This is from the equivalent book for wilderness, so wilderness dressing. So I printed out this table. It is a D100 table. So let's see what we've got in this first area by using this table. So that is 25. So let's have a look at 25. Large granite spires form four-fingered hands. Right, so I've drawn my large granite hands, which, you know, you would think would be the first thing that Ferrick would notice when he walked into the clearing, instead of the herald who was wandering around having a chill out near the base of the granite structures. But there you go, he didn't. He's noticing them now, looking at them, probably not too sure what he could do with them. I think probably the only option he would have would be to try and climb them, see if he can see where the caves might be, or possibly see if there's any particularly nasty enemies in one of the next areas. So maybe let's find out, because I fancy using the Oracle, let's find out if Ferrick is a particularly adept climber, and then we can give him an advantage when he tries to climb. And if he's not a good climber, then he just won't try and climb it. So we've got this general oracle along the top, which just gives you yes and no answers of varying degrees. So we're going to use that. So is he a good climber? Yes. Yes, he is a good climber. So I guess in order to climb these things, he's going to need to use his dexterity. So ordinarily, his dexterity is actually pretty bad, but not when it comes to climbing, it turns out. So I'm going to give him a +2 on this roll. So he's going to try and climb. If he rolls 11 or less, then he is successful. And he has 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Fantastic. So he has climbed up the spires, the granite hands. Let's use the oracle again to see if he sees anything that's going to be helpful from the top. Does he see anything helpful? 3, no but. So he doesn't see anything helpful, but there's still something positive about the climb. I'm going to say that he doesn't see anything helpful, but while he's up the tree, some giant spiders go past, and he sees which way the giant spiders go. So I guess he does see something helpful, but it's immediately below him. He's hidden from the giant spiders. So that's the thing. No, he doesn't see anything helpful, but he's hidden from the giant spiders that scamper around below. And let's see which way the giant spiders go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4. So this way we now know we've got some guaranteed giant spider action. So naturally, when he comes back down, he's going to choose to go one of the other ways, and he's going to go this way. So we're going to go on to area number 2. How many exits have we got from this area? No, we said that would be a dead end, didn't we? We said ones would be a dead end. So we've got just that. We've got an area where whichever way Ferrick looks, the way ahead seems too brambly and closed off. However, what else is in here? Let's find out. So we're going to use the room contents. 1, it's empty. Okay, so we've just got a little empty area. So of that as a reminder, dictates whether there's a trap, an NPC, or an enemy in the area. However, there could be something else. And I'm going to roll on the feature table in the book this time. So what have we got here? D66. Purple's the first digit. 31. Oh, that's the one I used for an example earlier, isn't it? A blistering hot hallway. Well, I've drawn it now. If I'd have read that first, I'd have drawn it a little bit more narrow. So we've got a blistering hot hallway, a passage through the trees where it strangely starts to get really, really hot. And as Ferrick is making his way in this direction, he finds himself feeling warmer and warmer and sweatier and sweatier. And so when the path gradually closes around him and there's no way forward, then he's actually kind of relieved. He has to turn back to the original area, and he's got 2 options now. He can either go towards the giant spiders, which he could do. Maybe he fancies a bit of a scrap, but I think probably he would rather avoid a fight, and he's going to go through this way here. So once again, let's see how many onward passages there are from this next area in the woods. And so that's just 1. So we've got a area with just one way forward. So this is area 3. As a reminder, we're going to have 7 areas rather, before we find the caves in which the hag lives. So let's see what's going on in this area. 3 gives us a trap. Oh, okay. How do traps work? I'm not sure I've read the trap section yet. Roll to determine the trap. Traps can be detected, disarmed, and avoided. Detecting a trap requires a successful wisdom roll. If detected, you can try to disarm it a single time by a successful dexterity roll. What kind of trap have we got? Should we work that out first? I should have rolled 2 dice. Scrap that, 2 dice. So we've got a D12 table here. 10. Oil fills room. I'm just going to drop back 1 to 9, I think. It's the same skill roll if it gets us. So it doesn't mean too much, but this is a tripwire. I think that makes more sense in this context. So obviously the ogre is conscious of people entering her domain, and she has set a tripwire. Okay, so we can use wisdom to see whether we detect that tripwire. Do we see it? My wisdom is pretty decent, actually. It's 13. 8, 9, 10, 11. So we do see the tripwire. And now that we've seen it, we can try and disarm it. Or we can avoid the trap. So I'm just looking here. Or we can avoid the trap at -3. Sorry folks, we had a bit of a technical glitch there, and unfortunately my camera stopped recording for a short period. Don't know why, just decided to throw a little hissy fit. So during that period we attempted to disarm the trap in the end, the tripwire. That did not work out. I set the tripwire off. I took 6 points of damage, and I was forced to use one of my healing potions in order to get back up to full health. And that's where we are. We left the room, Ferrick left the area and moved on to a new area, which also only has 1 exit. And that's where we are at the moment. Okay, so we're going to use the Oracle to see what's going on in this area. Alright, so we've got 6, so we're encountering an enemy for the first time. So we've got an enemy oracle here as well to see whether we have an underling, a warrior, or an elite. Oh, we've got, really? An elite enemy. Brilliant. Ah, okay. How many? Oh my days. So we could have multiple. What are our elite enemies? Our elite enemies are demonic boar, which have a higher attack ceiling than me. Do they? What's my attack ceiling? No, they don't. They have a high attack ceiling. They have almost as much health as me, and they do a lot of damage. So let's see, how many demonic boar do we have here? 3. Absurd. Alright, so this room here has got 3 demonic boar. So enemy reaction, that's if they see me, but I could try and be sneaky. Roll on dexterity to sneak by, or cast distraction using wisdom. So my wisdom is my best option, because my wisdom is 13, it's my highest one. So I could try and cast a distraction spell and then sneak past them. That's definitely an option. I think we're probably going to have to do that. I'm not fighting these 3 demonic boar. That's insanity. Distraction generates a natural phenomenon like wind gust, smoke, or a loud clang, rolling at or below wisdom to create a successful distraction. So what distraction am I going to create? Well, I think demonic boar probably eat other woodland creatures. I don't think they're snuffling around for berries. I think they're chowing down on the flesh of other animals. So I'm going to try and create a distraction that is a squirrel. So if I'm successful, my magic will have summoned a squirrel, and the boar will chase the squirrel and disappear into the undergrowth. Okay, so my wisdom is 13, so we need to roll 13 or less. Well, that's 13 exactly. I think that's all right. Oh, rolling exactly your wisdom is an ultra cast, causing devastating damage, typically deadly to any foes. All right. Well, I can't imagine a squirrel's going to cause damage to the demonic boar. Let's keep it simple and just say the squirrel is summoned. So I've used one of my spell casts for this quest area. Squirrel turns up, jumps onto the stump of a tree and is there happily nibbling on an acorn. And one of the boar spots it, runs for it. The squirrel disappears into the undergrowth. The other boar follow, and they all thunder off through the tree line, and the noise of them barraging through the undergrowth gradually fades into the distance. Alright, so shall we have a look around to see what else there is? Oh, wait a minute. Hang on a second. I think I get some gold for this. Avoiding a fight rewards a bonus of 200 gold. Cool. Let's not wonder how I acquire that gold. I guess I just find a stash of gems or something like that. So that's 200. Great. Alright, so we're off to a bit of a start with our gold stash. That's nice. Right, we're going to push on. We're going to push on to the next area. If this video seems a little bit disjointed, it's because my phone keeps overheating and stopping recording, which is proving quite annoying. But I'm going to push on and finish this first section so that we get to the end of the forest and find the caves before this video finishes, or at the end of this video. Next area. How many exits? 2. Alright, so we've got 2 options in the next area. That's good. Alright, area 5. What have we got in area 5? Another trap. Okay, so this ogre is obviously quite paranoid and sets a lot of traps. So what sort of trap have we got this time? 8. A pit. A 20-foot pit. And are we going to detect the pit? So for that we're doing a wisdom roll. Our wisdom is 13. Oh, that's a fail, isn't it? 6, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we fail. This is super annoying. And so we're walking through this clearing, keeping an eye out for enemy, and we don't notice the massive pit covered in sticks and leaves in the middle. And in we go. Oh, okay, so we only get 2 points of damage. That's okay. I can deal with that. I can cope with that. So that takes me down to 9 HP. So while I'm in the pit, should we have a look around inside the pit? While I'm nursing my wounds, what do we see? We'll roll for features. 35. Discarded books and scrolls and treasure. Okay, so it could have been worse. Scrolls are good. Scrolls and treasure. Now, having said scrolls are good, I haven't seen a huge amount of information on them. The only bit that I did see is in the magic section, where it says a magic scroll is a single-use spell, no limit on the number of scrolls used per day. So let's root through these scrolls and see if any of them are magic scrolls that will give us access to a spell. So are any of the scrolls magic? 3, no, but. Okay, keep rolling 3s, don't I, when I ask the oracle. So no, none of the scrolls are magic, but one of the scrolls does contain some information about the forest. So we are in area 5 of the forest. Does one of the scrolls contain information about a shortcut to the caves? No. No and. So no, none of the scrolls contain information about shortcuts, but no and actually the opposite. So one of the scrolls allegedly has a map, or at least what looks like a map of the forests. So the areas that we've seen already, the two onward routes. However, it's going to trick us. The map says that the safest way to go is this northern route to avoid this one here. So actually this route here would lead us directly to the entrance of the caves. However, we're going to believe this map, annoyingly, which says to go this way and that it's the best route. However, going that way will be a bad thing. I'm going to say that the map wants us to go this way. It was left here by the ogre to trick unwary travellers like myself. And in this direction, in the next area, we're guaranteed to have some enemies. That's what I'm going to say. I think I've tried to draw the pit with some sticks over it. So we're going to climb our way out of the pit, and then we're going to carry on our way. That felt quite eventful. So once again, I don't think I'm going to roll to see if there's anything else in this area. We're just going to push on to area 6, which we know will definitely have some monsters. Now, how many exits does it have? That gives us 2 exits. Right, so area 6 we know is definitely going to have some enemies because we were tricked by that pesky map. 3 gives us warrior level enemies, which are zombies. How many zombies are we facing here? 3 zombies. Okay, 3 zombies. I could try and sneak around the zombies, but actually I think it's probably time for a fight, isn't it? And these zombies, they have 8 HP. They have an attack ceiling of 5, which actually makes them quite dangerous. And they do 1d8 damage. Actually, that's starting to sound a bit scary now. Maybe my hero will die here, but I've got a feeling we should probably have a go at a fight. We could try and retreat if things aren't going our way. So we come into the clearing. We see these 3 shambling figures. They look like maybe highwaymen, I would say. They live outside of the village, and they're robbers that have been taken over and zombified by the ogre. And the reason why I'm making them robbers is because I don't want to feel too bad about killing them. And if they were village folk, then that would make this a bit more complicated. So they're just bandits. They're just bandits that have been a bit zombified. So we roll a d20 to attack. And what we're aiming to do is to roll equal to or under our attack ceiling. If a hit, we roll for damage, and we subtract that from the enemy's HP. So we just go for the nearest zombie, and we're trying to roll at 16 or below. 5, so that is nice and healthily below our attack ceiling. Okay, so we might get momentum, which means we could do more damage. So we're going to roll our damage die. Alright, so how much damage do we do? We are rolling d4, 2, plus 1 for that little bonus that I gave myself. That was a one-off deal. So that's going to do 3 points of damage, and these guys have 8 HP. I think they could kill me. So our first zombie, we're doing 3 points of damage to. We don't get momentum, which is unfortunate, which means that we're going to move in to the enemy attacking. And they've got to roll at or below their AC. Oh, okay, so the zombies having an AC of 5 is actually good. So they've got to roll 5 or less in order to attack me on a d20, not on 3d6. Okay, so on a d20, here we go, 5 or less. So the first zombie that I attacked lunges at me. and rolls a 1. So that is a successful hit, if I want it to be a successful hit. Or I could try a defensive move. Now my best option is wisdom, so I could try and distract this zombie and therefore not take this damage. However, if I fail at my distraction, things get worse. But I'm going to try it anyway. I'm going to try and distract the zombie because it's looking like it's going to successfully hit me. I think that's okay. 11, that is less than my wisdom, which means I successfully distract the zombie and it doesn't hit. Okay, so then the second zombie comes in at me, fails, and the third zombie fails. Good, good, good. Alright, so now we go into a new round of combat and I'm going to attempt to attack the... I'm going to stick to that first zombie that I've already hit once, see if I can take him down. So I've got to roll 16 or less. 7, that's good. Let's roll for damage. 3, that is good, because that means I gain momentum. So momentum allows for multiple damage rolls dealing massive damage in a single attack. So if you roll the top 2 dice values on your damage die, then this happens. So I rolled a 3, which is one of the top 2 values on my d4. So if I was rolling a d8, I'd step down to a d6 for my next roll. But d4 is the lowest, so I get to roll the d4 again, doing 4 points of damage. I think my momentum keeps going, because that's one of the top 2 values. So that's 3 plus 4, 3. Okay, so it does go over onto another foe. So that's 3 plus 4, 7. And 8. Okay, cool. So that means I'm doing 5 points of damage to this zombie and 3 to the next zombie as well. I've got a feeling I'm going to enjoy momentum as a mechanic. So now the 2 remaining zombies are going to attempt to attack me. And again, their attack ceiling is 5. Oh, so the first one does get me, but I'm going to try and defend. Oh, you can't do the same thing twice. So if I tried to defend, I couldn't distract. I could attempt to block, and I have to roll 11 or less on a strength roll, which seems moderately safe. So I might try that. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, just about. So I successfully block, and that means if I get hit again, I can attempt to distract. You're not allowed to do the same thing twice in a row. So I distracted the first time, and then I blocked the second time. Okay, but that still leaves the other zombie who is in a position to attack me. Oh, that's a success. That's super annoying. Alright, so now I can try and distract this zombie, which is rolling on my wisdom, which is 13. And that is successful, 9, 10. So that's all good. Brilliant. So we're going to go into a new round of combat. And I'm going to attempt to attack that zombie that I've already done damage to. So I've got to roll 16 or less. Oh, that's exactly 16. That's good. Isn't that good? No, maybe not. No, it's just... okay, so in other situations, rolling exact is good, but not during combat, I guess. Alright, so I've hit. That's a good thing. Let's roll to see how much damage I do. 2 points of damage. Could have been better, quite frankly. But hopefully they won't successfully attack me this time. First one, lunges. Oh, it's super annoying. Rolls a 2. Their attack ceiling is 5, which means that is a successful attack. I'm going to attempt to... Am I going to attempt? I'm going to have to, aren't I? Because I can't... Because they do D8 damage, which could take me down quite quickly. Oh, what did I do last? I did distract last, didn't I? So I could try and block. Let's try and block. So this is rolling on my strength, which is 11. Oh, that's bad. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, that's a fail. That means I have to take the damage, but I have to take it at +2. That's awful. So it's going to do D8 damage at +2. 2 could have been worse. So 2 plus 2 is 4. That means I'm taking 4 damage. Oh, which does take me down to 5. Okay, and does the other one hit me as well? No, the other one misses. Which means we can go into a new round of combat. I'm going to attempt to hit that zombie again. Success. Roll for damage. 4. Brilliant. That means we are getting momentum, so we can roll again. Oh, 3. So that takes me up to 7. I can keep going because you can roll for momentum whenever you roll the top 2 numbers on the dice. Oh, 3 again. 7, 8, 9, 10. 11. Okay, so we're doing 11 points of damage. So that's 3 to that zombie. And actually, I don't need to draw this one, do I? Because that leaves 8 points of damage. 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. So that means that not only am I killing the second zombie, my attack is badass enough that I actually managed to take out the third zombie as well. And the zombies are defeated. Righty. So what happens once we've killed something? Because I haven't done that before, have I? I'm not sure. Do I get to do an item search? Which I haven't actually done yet. Could I have been doing that at every location? Oh, could I have been doing that at every location? I think I could have been. Ah, okay. So here's my reward. These were warriors, so I get 200 gold pieces. Beastie that I killed. So that's going to take me, that's an additional 600. That's going to take me up to 830. That's pretty awesome. Oh, and I tell you what, I forgot to roll for treasure in the pit, didn't I? When I was in the pit, I found some treasure, and I totally forgot to roll for it. I'm going to do that now. So let's roll d20. 18, that sounds good, doesn't it? 300 gold pieces. There you go, I'm going to have another 300 gold pieces. So that takes me up to 1,130. That's a bit more like it. Alright, so we are fairly well treasured up. These zombies have been defeated, and we're going on to the final room, which is down here. I'm not going to do any exits from this room. This exit from area 5 is also going to lead to this area, because the map told me that this was a better route. So this is the final area, which has the entrance to the cave in. So here's our final area, and we finally discovered the entrance to the cave in which the ogre lives. Huzzah! But is there anything here guarding the entrance to the cave? We need to check. Room contents, area contents. 2, nothing. There is nothing dangerous here whatsoever. Good news. Alright, so Ferrick managed to make his way through the forest, had a couple of encounters, but managed to survive, and is now ready to enter the cave and to try and find the lair of the ogre, and hopefully also find his father and release him from the zombification spell that he's been put under. There you go, that was my first Harper's Quest playthrough. I thought that went alright. Hope you enjoyed it, folks. Any questions, any comments, feel free to pop them in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Did you enjoy that? Have you played Harper's Quest? Did it go similarly for you? Yeah, thanks for watching. I'll catch up with you in the next part of this playthrough, and bye for now.